Chapter 196 Solar-Powered Mobile Carriage. Hearing the provocative words of the witch, Liam frowned. Judging by her words, it seems that Sylvester was a pretty affluent family. My tavern will not be taking any investment. Although if you are interested, I can sell my tavern's recipe to you, Liam replied after some thought. As for being a concubine, Liam reacted as if he didn't hear it. Oh? You are willing to sell your tavern's recipe? The witch was a little shocked and smiled. Interesting. The witch thought that this pretty boy would be a stubborn one. Who knew he would give up so easily? Making her a little disappointed. Originally, they planned to slowly invade and secure the tavern's recipe, then kill Liam to keep the secret. As for the mysterious power that Liam had, silently killing some noble and wealthy merchants? That was just an insignificant problem for the Sylvester family. After all, one person, no matter how strong, is no match for an army. How much do you want, pretty boy? What I need is resources, not money, Liam said. Taking money is stupid and inefficient. If that is all that he needs, then he can just steal some money from a rich noble or merchant. Without connection or backing, you cannot buy a huge quantity of resources, especially in this time of famine. As for the tavern's recipe, Liam could have as many as he wanted. It seems that you know something, the witch smiled knowingly. The famine that spread starting from the east is no secret. The only thing unknown is how far it will spread. As an affluent family spanning several kingdoms, the Sylvester family was already preparing for this famine, collecting many materials. They only paid attention to the tavern's recipe because of its deliciousness. One of the family members who drank it even said that it was more delicious than the royal wine. They just needed such a thing to earn a lot of money before the famine truly caused some panic. What's wrong? Do you not accept this kind of payment? Liam asked, seeing the witch look at him meaningfully. Nothing, it's just that various resources right now are quite expensive, so you might not get much. As long as you pay with resources, then it's fine. Liam didn't mind. Soon, Liam had written a list of materials that he needed as well as the quantities. Seeing the list, the witch was a little shocked at how precise Liam's calculations were. The total cost of the resources on the list is how much the Sylvester family is willing to pay. Anything more, and they would just forcibly steal the recipe. How is it? Can you get these things? Liam asked coldly. Staying here for a few months, he was already familiar with various prices. As for how he estimated the Sylvester family's bottom line? It's because this witch is easy to read. As he wrote the resources he needed, the witch's face changed at different rates. With his knowledge, reading this change was like reading a book. We can get this to you in a month, the witch calmed down and replied. By the way, give me the list of what you need to sell your body, the witch said, still interested in this pretty boy. Is there anything else you need? If not, you can start collecting what I need, Liam said, sending off the guards. Hee, I just like that expression on your face. You interest me more and more. Remember, my name is Urticia, the witch Urticia said as she exited, winking seductively at Liam. How troublesome. A month later, in Urok City, the resources Liam needed arrived as promised. How is it? Is anything missing? Urticia asked pitifully, missing Liam. Here is the recipe you wanted, Liam said, not bothering any more as he ordered his men to transfer the supplies to the mechanical carriages. Hey, it seems that you also have this type of convenient carriage, Urticia said, getting closer to Liam. Now, Urticia changed her dress to a more conservative one after seeing that Liam didn't like her attire previously. She even changed her perfume, hoping to get Liam interest. It's none of your business, Liam replied nonchalantly. He also noticed that the Sylvester family used mechanical carriages. However, thinking that they were not the only examinees in their world, he didn't react much. There should be a group of students recruited by the Sylvester family to do this. How about it, Liam? Did you consider joining our family? Don't worry, you would no longer be my concubine but the main husband. Is my offer tempting enough? Urticia talked endlessly, teasing Liam. Liam didn't react as he treated her like air. Soon, his men finished loading the resources. I still have a lot to do. Congrats on getting my recipe, Liam said goodbye as the mechanical vehicle departed. Seeing such a cold boy, Urticia smiled wider as if she had found an interesting toy. Hee, just wait. 3 years later, in the Promised Land. With the resources that Liam obtained from the Sylvester family, their progress accelerated. First was their food supply. The promised crop created by Lily, Lydia, and Amara was further enhanced. Now, besides the special solution needed, it only needed a small amount of water. Furthermore, it became more nutritious and grew faster. Originally, it took a month to reach maturity, but now it only took 20 days. As for nutrition, consuming just one a day was enough. These three natural alchemists also created a variety of potions for healing, strengthening, and poisoning. They were also working on a longevity potion, but unfortunately, due to a lack of time and materials, they had not succeeded so far. Luke and Sam made the most significant progress during these years. They were finally able to create a solar-powered mechanical carriage. Moreover, they didn't stop there. The carriage had a feature like a trackless train, allowing them to connect multiple carriages horizontally. Currently, there were already 3 mechanical carriages connected. The first carriage served as an accommodation when they were traveling. The second was a living space for cooking, processing materials, soil-less planting, and water storage. The third was a storage room for all of their resources. All of this was very advanced, to the extent that even other mechanics among the examinees might not have been able to create it. Luke and Sam's ability to create such technology was due to their father. They had been inspired after they saw the mechanical doomsday vehicle their father had created. It became their primary project when they were at home. Unfortunately, due to their limited knowledge, they couldn't create an intelligent program like their father. Besides the mechanical carriage, the two also developed a range of weapon modules for self-defense. Although they were somewhat crude and could only penetrate human armor, it was sufficient for their needs. As for Liam, in 3 years, he traveled over 1,000 kilometers, collecting resources and information. However, a few months ago, the once lively landscape of 1,000 kilometers had become desolate and devoid of people. Standing on the dried-up lake, the brothers and sisters sighed. "I guess it's time to leave the promised land." The others, upon hearing this, were a little sad, and some of them teared up, especially the children from the previous orphanage. They had been staying here for over 3 years, learning to read and gaining knowledge that they might not have had in a lifetime. Their bodies had grown stronger, and they had acquired fighting skills that could defeat any opponent. This promised land held so many memories of the happiest times they had experienced. "It's fine, we can create our own promised land with our own hands," Lily comforted, patting the heads of the children. Packing all the materials they had accumulated into the mechanical carriage, they took one last look at the promised land. A few months later, they finally encountered other humans. Although the mobile carriage was indeed powered by the sun, its speed was only 30 to 50 kilometers per day. They also need to rest along the way, after all the carriage is only for traveling and storage. All of this adds up, taking them a few months to catch up with the last group of refugees. The conversion efficiency of the solar panel is only enough for the mobile carriage to travel at a speed comparable to a human. Luke and Sam were also helpless about this. They had only been studying mechanics for a decade. Even though they occasionally visited a time chamber, it wasn't frequent and the time dilation was only a few hundred. As for adding another module, like coal and heat, it was too bulky and would compromise the aesthetics of their carriage. Because of this, their sisters agreed not to add another energy module. Anyway, they had the strength and resources to overcome any problem that came their way. The carriage already served its purpose as a means of transportation and resource storage. In the future, the brothers can just improve it as they travel. Chapter 197 Solar Stone. The arrival of the group caused a little commotion among the marching refugees. Another mechanical carriage. Hiss, it should be a noble or a wealthy merchant. How I wish to have one. Don't dream, I heard that it costs a few thousand gold, and you may not even be able to buy it. With examinees and a few influential groups of people like the Sylvester family. The original backward world already showed advancement like no other. Mechanical carriages were only one of the products that these groups of people sold. From mechanical devices to various potions, the world became more magical. If it were not for the lack of extraordinary power in this world, the changes would be more astonishing. However, it seems that this mechanical carriage is a little different. It seems to be more slick and longer. Furthermore, there is no smoke coming out. This should be a new product that just got out. I even heard of a mechanical carriage that can fly briefly. Hey, there are really many amazing people in this world. After scrutinizing the newly arrived group, they didn't bother any longer. As for being greedy and stealing such a mechanical carriage? They were not that foolish yet. Previously there were people who coveted such mechanical vehicles, but what greeted them was a hail of bullets. From then on, they came to know the horror of mechanical guns. Even a group of army was no match for a hail of bullets. In the carriage. After seeing some people, they were a little happy. It means that they have caught up with the last group. By the way, brother, what do we do now? Max asked. Now they have no problem with food and water. It can be said that they only needed to wait for the end of the trial. Of course, we complete the trial perfectly, Liam said confidently. How? They were still in the dark about the secrets of this world. No, tell them, Lily, who knew something, shook Neo, who was sleeping on her lap. How, what happened? Neo rubbed his eyes. Tell them about the plan. Oh. As I said earlier, surviving is only the prerequisite to pass the trial. The main mission is to save this world, or at least save as many humans as possible. Neo briefly explained and went back to sleep. So that's it, we saved the world? Max exclaimed excitedly. The trial had become somewhat boring once they had everything they needed. Hearing that a bigger mission was in front of them, how could he not be excited? However, thinking of the natural catastrophe that was happening, he couldn't help but be overwhelmed. How can we save the world with just a few of us? Of course, we can't save the world, but saving a few people is still feasible. According to Neo's estimate, saving about 15 to 20 million should be enough for all of us, Liam explained. And how do we do that? By building a promised land for these millions of people. At night, the mobile carriage stopped as they began setting up the camp. It was still not possible to sleep in the carriage itself. Aside from them and the children from the previous orphanage, there were also people recruited by Liam. These people were his henchmen when he set out to collect resources and information in various cities. Now, after setting up the camp for resting, they also established a temporary trading post. After all, they needed to save as many people as possible. Since they had not yet set up the promised land, they could only help these people so they wouldn't die. Excuse me, what do you trade here? Finally, some courageous people couldn't help but ask. We only trade water, Rinrin, one of Liam's henchmen, said. Water? At this time of catastrophe, water was equivalent to their life. They could only survive by drinking their urine, or if they were lucky, they could find a puddle of water. However, even with these desperate measures, not everyone survived the journey. Thus, upon hearing that they were trading water, the originally timid refugees rushed toward them like hungry wolves. Then, what do you trade water for? Anything from minerals to supplies, Rinrin said. Then, how much is this worth? Garban, one of the refugees, said, taking out a piece of gold. 15 grams of gold? You can have 15 liters of water, Rinrin said after some thought. According to his leader's younger brother Luke, gold is like a panacea when it comes to electronics. A gram for a liter of water should be sufficient. 15 liter of water? Garban was shocked by the amount. Although gold still held value in these times, it was not worth much. Do you have a container to put the water in? Rinrin didn't procrastinate, wanting to complete the transaction quickly. He didn't value water as much as these people. Rinrin knew his leader Liam had a way of getting water as much as he wanted. After all, water was only evaporating, not disappearing. Sam and Luke had already upgraded the water launcher and condensation device. This ensured a steady supply of water as long as the mechanical carriage stayed in place. Garban, hearing that 15 liters of water were real, hurriedly took out a wooden container. Here is my container. Take this to the carriage, Rinrin ordered his underling. Right away, boss. His underling took the wooden container and filled it with water from the carriage. This is your water. This? It's really water. Garban exclaimed as he checked the crystal clear water. The others were also shocked to see that they were indeed trading water. I also want to trade, I have 5 grams of gold. Me too. Me too. Can you trade anything else? I have rare metal here. I also have medicinal plants, I should be able to trade them. How about my daughter? I can trade my daughter. What are you talking about? They were only trading resources. Why not? My daughter is beautiful, it should be worth a lot. All right, calm down, Rinrin said coldly. There is enough water for everyone, no need to hurry. Furthermore, we only trade resources, not people. Now line up. Otherwise, we will not trade with you. Hearing the instructions, the refugees obediently lined up. One by one, they received their share of the water and brought it back to their families or groups. The night was long as they traded several tons of water. Fortunately, they had a lot in storage, otherwise, even the automatic condensation devices couldn't keep up. Consequently, their storage was filled to the brim with materials. Months passed by, and they finally reached a place with greenery. During these months, people kept following them to trade water if needed. As for what they traded with them, it was various materials they found along the way. Liam also recruited people for labor with water as their salary. From mining to helping them with all kinds of physical labor. It could be said that as long as these people weren't lazy, they would not die. The only problem was food, as the promised crop was only enough for them. Fortunately, even though there was a famine, there were still a lot of insects alive. If they were patient, they could dig up 1 or 2 insects and worms to prevent themselves from starving. Besides these people, there were also some troublemakers. Having a stable supply of water, how could others not be suspicious? Unfortunately, these people would only learn this secret in the afterlife. In the Denleaf Stronghold, a temporary refugee camp, Liam and the others were greeted by a camp the size of a city beside a raging river.
Halt!
The guard stopped their mechanical carriage.
What is it?
Rinrin, who was in the driving seat, asked. You need to pay an entrance fee before entering.
How much?
10 grams of solar stone fragments. Why are you asking for such a thing? Rinrin asked, puzzled.
I don't know.
Anyway, this is what the higher-ups wanted. You can either pay or leave. The guard didn't back down. Although he could see that the people in the mechanical carriage were not simple. The one who set up the camp here was not simple either. All right, wait. Rinrin didn't ask further and came inside the carriage. Boss, it seems that they need 10 grams of solar stone.
I know.
Here is the thing. Liam also heard what the guard said and readily took out a few fragments of solar stone. Solar stone is the byproduct of this world's catastrophe, or it should be said it's the cause of it. Solar stone is a mutated energy crystal that absorbs the heat from the sun. Its large presence makes the planet hotter and hotter until it becomes uninhabitable. During their few months of journey, as they were mining, they found a few pieces of these solar stones. Upon inspection, it seemed that these solar stones were intentionally placed, just waiting to erupt. From east to south, all these solar stones seemed to be erupting in sequence. Chapter 198 Denleaf Stronghold. Paying 10 grams of solar stone, they received an identification certificate and were granted access to the Stronghold. Once inside, it felt like a different world. High-tech mechanical devices, makeshift buildings, a street hawking various products, and, finally, a thriving plantation. Shortly after, Liam rented a space to park their mechanical carriage for a few grams of solar stone. On their way here, Liam noticed that the official currency of the Stronghold appeared to be solar stone. It might seem inefficient and troublesome to use stone in grams. But solar stones are as light as a feather, making a gram of it about the size of a thumb. Furthermore, there were carving and weighing stations everywhere for processing solar stones. Liam also understood that, in such a time, a currency wouldn't work unless it held significant value. Like food and water, which could be used for bartering. However, considering the abundance of water and food in the Stronghold, using it to barter is not feasible. Thus solar stones, a unique material in this world that even the examines like them wanted to get a hold of, would be the only viable option for currency. Of solar stone in the area, using it as currency seemed to be the only viable option. Furthermore, in this catastrophe, a super energy source would be needed whatever you do. Under the research of Luca and Sam and with the expertise of the 3 natural alchemists, Lily, Lydia, and Amara, solar stones are equivalent to a nuclear power source, emitting seemingly endless energy. Just a gram of solar stone could power their mechanical vehicle for a week. Thus it became their primary goal to amass thousands of tons of solar stone. With it, they can create a self-sustaining underground world that could function for hundreds of years without issues. Now, however, their short-term goal is to upgrade their vehicles, stock up on resources, and mine in the east, where solar stone can be found easily. At night, as they rested and planned their next course of action, a group of examinees burst in, looking at them curiously. So, you're the new group that has come to the Denleaf Stronghold, Desmond, the group's leader, said.
Yes, we are. What do you need?
Liam responded coldly. Don't be so defensive, we simply want to invite you to our team. Are you the owner of this stronghold? Liam asked again. Not entirely.
He shook his head.
This stronghold is a joint creation of various nobles and a few groups of examinees like us, Desmond explained straightforwardly.
What would we gain from joining you?
Liam didn't reject outright and inquired. Resources, protection, and we can help each other pass the test perfectly, Desmond offered. Neo was not the only divinator in this world, so the hidden mission was not a secret. Other examinees were also determined to complete the mission perfectly, although they didn't know the exact reward. According to the divinators, passing the exam perfectly could save them hundreds to thousands of years in the days to come.
Thank you, but our team is already content with each other.
Joining another one is unnecessary.
Liam politely declined. Oh, what a shame, Desmond sighed.
However, he didn't dare to press them. After all, this was a normal world without extraordinary abilities. A bullet could end his life. Although he was confident he could overwhelm them with a large number of people, he had no idea what hidden weapons they might have developed. Regardless, I can only leave. Desmond didn't stay any longer. After that, a few groups of examinees came to invite them to join their group. There was even a group of nobles promising a huge incentive to join them. However, they rejected all of these offers. Joining another group would indeed make the mission easier, but it would also increase the associated risks, which they considered not worth it. They thought the night was already over and that no more groups would come to solicit them. However, to their surprise, there was still someone interested. Liam's acquaintance, the witch, Urticia.
Did you miss me, baby Liam?
Urticia said, immediately moving to hug Liam. Liam didn't appreciate the gesture and dodged her.
What's wrong, baby Liam? Is there someone preventing you from hugging me?
Urticia said seductively, glancing at Amara, who had a dark expression. Just from Amara's aura, Urticia could tell that the two had something between them. Don't worry, girl. I only want Liam's body, not his heart, Urticia explained with a smile. Amara still didn't speak and continued to look at Liam with a disapproving gaze.
What do you want?
Are you also here to recruit us? Liam got the cue and changed the topic. Of course not. How can I forget that baby Liam has already rejected me multiple times? Urticia rolled her eyes. Years ago, when they were preparing to escape, Urticia had invited Liam countless times, using various incentives that most people couldn't refuse, including wealth, power, and even her own body. Liam remained steady and emotionless as a rock.
Then why are you here?
Liam asked coldly.
Why can't I come? I just miss you.
Is there something wrong with that? Urticia said pitifully. Liam, straight face. Seeing Liam's non-responsive attitude, Urticia gritted her teeth and finally revealed her purpose. I just want you to invite me to the private auction activity in a week. Who knew that you're so cold, mister?
Humph.
Urticia huffed as she walked away. We will come in a week, Liam responded and returned to their tent. As for the event being private, Liam could get the invitation as long as he knew about it. As the day passed, Luke and Sam were busy upgrading their mechanical carriage. By now, they had 5 carriages connected horizontally, with the additional 3 serving as a plantation and another 2 storage rooms. Their current task involved changing the power module from solar energy to solar stone. As they just found out about the solar stone, until now they still haven't changed the power module of the mechanical carriage. However, changing the power module was just the beginning. They also needed to enhance the carriage load-bearing capacity and energy transfer capabilities. The difference in power between solar power and solar stone was enormous, akin to installing a nuclear power plant in one's home. Meanwhile, Lily, Lydia, and Amara were focused on creating a fast-growing staple food. Although the promised crop was nutritious and grew quickly, it had demanding planting conditions. Without a special solution and expert oversight, it couldn't be grown at all. With their upcoming journey back to the east, the 3 of them needed to develop a crop that could thrive with just water, even in harsh conditions. As for the others who only knew how to fight, their task was to thoroughly investigate the place. This included learning about the various prices, examining different groups, and researching nearby strongholds. They needed to gather comprehensive information. A week later, in a makeshift auction building, a group of people sat waiting for the event to start. Welcome, distinguished guests, a somewhat beautiful lady took the stage. I'm sure you know why we are here, but let me reiterate. We are here today to exchange things that we can use in this catastrophic drought. Whether it is knowledge or materials, we are here to exchange everything. As a reminder, this auction will only accept solar stone as a payment.
Now, without further ado, let me present the first item up for auction. Soon, a group of presenters revealed an automatic launching device with a few balls beside it. This is a set of water condensation device that you can install in any type of mechanical carriage. The auctioneer's words generated some excitement. Can this cannon-like device collect water? What a cool gadget, I want it. Who created such a thing? It's fascinating. This group of people wasn't surprised that the mechanical device could collect water. What astonished them was the innovative concept behind it. Even the examinees attending the auction found themselves lost in thought. The idea of creating a spin to generate pressure on the water vapor sparked new ideas among them. The individuals present here each had their own water condensation devices. These devices included floating tools that could gather water from the air, freezing devices to preserve water, and even underground water detection equipment. Their ability to survive in this environment demonstrated their resourcefulness and adaptability. The starting bid for the condensation device is 1 kilogram of solar stone.
Let the bidding commence.
11 Kilogramm. 13 Kilogramm. 13,5 Kilogramm. 14 Kilogramm. 15 Kilogramm. 18 Kilogramm. 21 Kilogramm. Eventually, the device was won for 21 kilograms. This was a relatively high price for a water condensation device. Typically, a condensation device would sell for only 1 to 3 kilograms of solar stone. The bidders were drawn to it not for its immediate utility but for the innovative concept and the potential for learning from it. Chapter 199. Another teammate. The final bidding price of the condensation device brought smiles to the people in the private room.
Brother, we're rich!
Max exclaimed excitedly. Originally, they didn't even have 100 grams of solar stone. Who knew that their obsolete condensation device could be worth 21,000 grams of solar stone? Don't be too happy, it's only a few kilograms, Liam shook his head. The reason they were so short on solar stone is that they didn't deliberately look for them. The solar stones in their possession were just bits and pieces accidentally found when they were mining. Soon, the auction continued. Solar stone detection devices, advanced mechanical carriages, powerful weapons, strengthening potions, healing potions, longevity potions, and more were on display. The array of auction items made them drool, but unfortunately, they couldn't afford any of them. Now, they really missed their father. When he was there, they could buy anything they wanted without checking the price. Or perhaps they should have taken Lux with them. With their brother's genius business mind, they would probably be rich by now. Now, they could only gaze enviously at the auction items. At the same time, they came to realize that they were not at the top of this trial. Many had more experience and knowledge than they did. After all, they were not even 20 years old, but most of the examinees were already over 60 years old. From communication devices, mobile houses, longevity potions, and many other things they don't have enough knowledge about. Although they couldn't come close to knowledge and experience compared to older examinees. They were confident in their creativity and execution ability. Not finding anything they could afford, they were ready to leave. For our next auction, we have this blueprint for a top-in-the-line underground paradise shelter. It was created by an architectural master, featuring the most advanced facilities. It's designed so that you can live the most comfortable life imaginable even in the harshest conditions. Now, the starting bid will be 100 kilograms of solar stone. What? The price is so expensive? Is the auctioneer so greedy for money? The people in the stands cursed at the price. It's not easy to find and mine solar stones, and having hundreds of kilograms of them at this stage is already remarkable. But a mere blueprint dared to sell for almost all their wealth? Guess calm down, this is the request of the consignor. This blueprint should allow you to live in the underground shelter for thousands of years without any problems. If the consignor is not short of money, they would not even be willing to sell it, the auctioneer explained. It's expensive regardless.
How about we buy it now and pay later?
One of the guests said. Truthfully, the blueprint is not that attractive to them, especially to the examinees. They also have their own architectural array master to create an underground shelter blueprint for them. Although it's not as sophisticated as the one in front, it's enough for them to pass the trial perfectly. As for the nobles and merchants, they also have examinees who have partnered with them and can create underground shelter blueprints. This let me ask the consignor. The auctioneer apologized and went to the back of the stage. Soon, she returned with a frown. My apologies to the guests. The consignor would rather not sell the architectural blueprint than let someone borrow it.
Then we don't want it.
That's right. Such an extravagant item, who would want it? Furthermore, looking at the glimpse of the blueprint, it would be very expensive to even build it. Under the clamor of the guests, the architectural blueprint was removed from the auction and sent back to the consignor. Liam and the others who saw this commotion just shook their heads and left. If they had money, they would be willing to buy such an exquisite blueprint. After all, there is no architectural array master within their group. Unfortunately, they had no money, so they could only think about this problem later. Coming out, they saw a girl in an autonomous vehicle lazily leaving the auction building. The reason they noticed the girl is that her expression, manners, and the way she moves look very much like their brother, Neo.
Is my eye playing tricks on me?
Max muttert. Perhaps she's the illegitimate daughter of our father? Sam hooked. If not for their vastly different facial features, they would really think that this girl is their father's illegitimate daughter.
Hello, why are you looking at me?
The girl said, removing her sunglasses.
Nothing.
You're an examinee, right? Lily asked.
That's right, and? Where is your group? Are you alone?
Lily asked, noticing that no one was with her.
Oh, they dumped me, the girl said casually. Then why don't you join us?
Lily suddenly asked. Just seeing the girl, she felt a closeness, thinking of her as a sister. Such a cute girl shouldn't be alone in their dangerous world.
Oh, then I'm welcome, the girl agreed like it was nothing.
By the way, my name is Arya. Originally, Arya also had a group, but as she was too lazy and didn't contribute much, that they dumped her immediately. Fortunately, with her wits, she survived until now.
Hello, Arya.
Come and meet my brothers and sisters, Lily said, taking Arya to their base and introducing her to the group. After the introduction, Arya looked curiously at Neo, who was lounging on the sofa.
Shouldn't you abandon him?
He's too lazy, Arya pointed out.
Of course not.
This is our lovely brother.
How can we abandon him?
But wouldn't he be a bother? No, Neo is very helpful, right, Neo?
Lily shook Neo.
Huh? What happened? Neo looked around, thinking that some problem had occurred. Suddenly, his eyes locked onto the newcomer. Another freeloader? Neo concluded, based on Arya's features and expression.
What do you mean, freeloader?
You're the freeloader, Arya said with contempt. I'm the most talented architectural array master you will ever see. Arya also bragged. That's right, another lazy profession. Neo muttered, returning to his sleep. What's wrong with your brother, Sister Lily? He's so annoying, Arya said dissatisfiedly. Seeing that Neo didn't get kicked out even if he was lazy, she was a little envious. Meanwhile, her previous group kicked her out without a second thought, seeing that she was a little lazy. Ha ha ha, you'll manage, Lily didn't explain. By the way, you said you're an architectural array master. Are you the one selling the exquisite blueprint earlier?
That's right.
Originally, I planned to amass some money and survive the 100 years by myself.
Arya cited.
After amassing enough solar stones, she can just build an underground hibernation pod and hibernate for a century until the end of the exam. As for the hidden mission, she already forgot about that. She can barely survive by herself, so why would she bother saving others? Now that I'm with Sister Lily, I can relax, Arya said, hugging her arms. Living consciously is still good, although she was also lazy, she also has some pursuit. Anyway, this is the blueprint from earlier. Tell me if you want to modify it. Arya readily took out the blueprint. That's great, we just need an architectural array master within our group. Arya nodded, finally feeling useful. 10 years later, the rivers and waters all over the continent they were in dried up. All over the world, a massive evacuation began. However, this time, under the conscious care of the examinees, there were not many casualties. After a few years of journey, most of the people in the world began to live beside the sea. Using advanced filtration technology, the supply of water is not a problem. The coastline became the home of billions of people. As for the shadow group and most of the examinees, they split into two groups. With the booming trade, most of the groups upgraded their mechanical carriages to become self-sufficient. They had everything prepared, from food and water to mechanical devices like mining bots and weapons. The split in the group was to mine solar stone and build an underground base at the same time. At this time, the temperature was already so hot that staying out in the sun for a few seconds could already cause severe sunburn. Many estimated that the ground would be ablaze in the coming decades. Thus, setting up an underground base and collecting resources was urgent. Unfortunately, in this race against time, people are still selfish. Multiple groups of people formed alliances, ranging from hundreds of thousands to millions, each collecting and building their shelters. Fortunately, they managed to restrain each other without using violence and instead used various enticements. After all, for an examinee to finish the exam perfectly, they needed to save at least 1 million people each. On their continent, there were only hundreds of millions of people with tens of thousands of examinees. The competition was so fierce that even the Shadow Group, created by Liam and the others, only managed to recruit a few million people. Chapter 210 years later. In the mining area around the center of the continent, Max, the person leading the mining group, was patrolling around.
"Sir Max, there is bad news," a man said, hurrying to him. "What happened?"
Max asked with a frown. Being immortal, the years had affected Max's facial and physical features. The once pretty boy who looked playful was now a mature uncle.
"It's the Freeman Group. They are coming to our mining area."
"Tisk, it's only the Freeman Group."
"What's the rush?"
Max didn't regard the Freeman Group highly. Their group was almost the same size as their Shadow Group but with more examinees. Max admitted that they were superior in technology, but he wasn't afraid of anyone when it came to fighting.
"Ella, let's go teach these sons of a gun a lesson," Max said, taking Ella's hand.
"Oh, then it'll be another harvest," Ella smiled beautifully. The years seemed to make Ella even more charming, smoothing her domineering character and leaving Max a little stunned. "Just be careful," Max advised. In the open clearing, Max and Ella waited for the Freeman Group as they geared up. Wearing exoskeletons, they picked up their weapons. Max took a huge spear, while Ella took out a modified whip. Looking at the group of people approaching them, they weren't a bit scared, even a little excited. These two battle maniacs thirsted for battle.
"Just the two of you?"
The leader of the Freeman Group frowned. There were thousands of them attacking the Shadow Group, but they only sent 2 people.
Wasn't this mocking them?
"We're enough. Now, if you would like to surrender, it'll be 1 kilogram of solar stone per person." Max licked his lips. It seems that the rumor is right, the Shadow Group is a bunch of arrogant bastards.
"Ha ha ha, who spread that thing?"
"It's not quite apt to our group," Max just laughed it off. "Don't bother with them, let's attack quickly." Ella didn't like to talk as she rushed towards the enemy.
"Hey, wait. Sai, what do I do with you?"
Max murmured as he also rushed towards the enemy. 2 versus 1,000 seemed impossible, but Max and Ella were like tireless beasts with eyes in the back of their heads. Surrounding or trapping them wouldn't work. Like nimble beasts, Max and Ella disabled all the living beings within their sight. Traps? Ambushes? Deceit? They were non-existent, anything had its limits. Even their most advanced technology wouldn't work without hitting the enemy. Max and Ella were like puppeteers putting on a show as their opponents danced within their fingertips. The spears, arrows, swords, and a hail of bullets were merely props enlivening the show. With potions and their exoskeletons, if their spirits could take it, they could fight endlessly. After nearly a quarter of an hour, seeing that they had no chance of winning, the surviving Freeman Group began to scatter. As for the rest, they lay on the ground, either disabled or dead.
"Huh?
The fight just hit the spot," Max smiled. Staying in the mining area, enduring the blazing hot weather, was like torture. The fights that came to them from time to time were a relief. That's why, if possible, they wouldn't kill their enemies so they could come back for more. If there were too many enemies, they would simply escape. When it came to reconnaissance, it could be said that the Shadow Group had the most advanced technology. This was because their father ingrained in them that information was king on the battlefield. Sam and Luke also studied this technology thoroughly, so creating it from scratch was somewhat easy. Then there was Neo, who could divine incoming disasters. As for interference when divining, if Neo claimed to be the second best diviner, no one would contest the top spot. Neo's hidden physique, which his father told him about, was the main reason he chose divination as his main profession. His physique was called heaven calculation, a power that could calculate all phenomena in under the heaven. Although it wasn't fully activated due to Neo's talent, it was a significant help when he wanted to divine something. For example, when it came to anti-interference. As long as the one causing the interference was not stronger than him by more than a tier, the interference was useless. Anyway, the children of the Shadowcrest family had a frightening reconnaissance ability. That's why they weren't afraid of any fight. After dealing with the Freeman group and looting their equipment, they left the scene. As for the people left on the battlefield, they were later rescued by their teammates. In the Bay Area, Promised Land underground base. While a part of the group was mining for materials, a large group with millions of people was constructing their underground base. They were engaged in digging, construction, designing, planting, water preservation, etc. The Promised Land was slowly taking shape. By now, the foundation had already been laid and was estimated to be finished in 3 years. At the construction site, Liam was supervising the base's construction. Despite having a complete structural management system, he still felt the need to supervise to ensure that nothing went wrong. "Baby Liam." Urtisha suddenly appeared, startling Liam. "Why are you here?" Liam asked. That bitch is not here, it's my chance," Urtisha thought, not seeing Amara. "What's wrong?" "I just missed you," Urtisha smiled and hugged Liam, asserting her dominance. Liam, unable to react, was helpless against her. Which Urtisha seemed to be cheating that even with countless strengthening potions, Liam's strength was no match for her. 3 years ago, when an examinee associated with the Silverus family attempted to take Urtisha as his lover, Urtisha killed him with her bare hands. It may not seem like it, but Urtisha was a seductress without experience. She only kept men as pets, abandoning them when she got bored. After killing that man, the Silverus family and that group of examinees became enemies. In this twist of turn, most people thought that the Silverus family would be over. After all, these years the examinees already surpassed this world aborigines. With a complete weapon and support system, plus their extraordinary experience, the examinees were unmatched. Surprisingly, Urtisha took all the blame and wiped out that group by herself. The exact methods she used were unknown to most, and many doubted that Urtisha was even an examinee. Seeing that Urtisha clung to him like an octopus, Liam frowned.
Can you get off, please?
Liam begged. Amara had already given him eye drops because of Urtisha. Although Amara understood that Liam could do nothing about it, she was still angry. After all, as a man, he couldn't even protect himself, which was embarrassing. "Hee, if you kiss me, I can let you go," Urtisha seduced. "Keep dreaming," Liam said emotionlessly and continued to supervise the base construction. He entered his emotionless mode, treating Urtisha like a clothing design. If he couldn't feel anything about Urtisha, Amara should understand his sincerity. Above the ground, inside the advanced shelter, Neo and Arya were in the living room lazing around. While Neo slept, Arya watched a movie and ate snacks. These movies were created by other examinees to earn some money. People still needed entertainment, especially when they would stay underground for an indefinite number of years. Games, movies, novels, comics, gambling, sports, and all kinds of entertainment activities were thriving. In this stressful environment, entertainment was the only thing that could numb their hearts and keep them going. As for food, it has also developed significantly, with various long-lasting food options available, from snacks to staple foods. "Hey Neo, do you think the movie is good?" Arya asked, poking Neo with her foot without looking. It's good," Neo mumbled while half asleep. "Is that it? Do you have anything to comment?" Arya asked, dissatisfied, as she turned her attention to Neo. Seeing that he was dozing off again, Arya couldn't help but pout. "You're sleeping again. I told you to watch the movie with me, you bastard," Arya said, pinching Neo's face until he fully woke up. "Huh? Didn't I watch a movie with you last night?" "That's already a lot," Neo also complained. He had an issue with his energy, which is why he was usually asleep, while Arya was merely lazy and didn't want to do anything. With a lot of energy to spare, Arya always disturbed him to do something every time. As for his brothers and sisters, they were busy and had no time to play with Arya. "It's only 3 movies. You heartless bastard," Arya huffed as she picked another movie. Childish, Neo mumbled and went back to sleep. You're just a sloth who only knows how to sleep." "At least I didn't bother anyone." "Anyway, I'll only bother you, so it's fair." Arya finished picking a movie and came beside Neo. Whatever, Neo didn't bother anymore, as it would waste a bit of his energy. Come snuggle over while I watch the movie," Arya pushed Neo aside as she also laid down. Seeing that Neo went back to sleep, Arya smiled and hugged him as a bed warmer. "Now you have some use," Arya thought with a blush.